I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Accidentally Casual, a podcast that has spooky, scary skeletons. My name is Tucker from Talking About Games, and with me are my co-hosts, Scott from BioWare Babbling.
And these skeletons do send shivers straight down your spine.
And Seeker, who is the community manager on our Discord.
I have allergies, so if I am disgusting and awful, I thought I had antihistamines, but I do not. So if I sound awful and disgusting, my apologies.
You never sound disgusting. Never ever say that again. You are never disgusting. Bad.
And with the spooky season now upon us, we thought that it would be time to talk about some horror stuff.
Okay.
But to start things off, I want to talk about something truly scary. The limitations of human intelligence. So I was at the bank depositing some money at the ATM. And there are two ATMs. One of them has a sign blocking it saying out of service. This piece of paper is just hung up. It's right there on it. So I, obviously, being the logical making sense of the situation, I am at the ATM that isn't out of service. I'm doing my transaction, putting all that stuff through. This guy comes up and he waits behind me for a few seconds and then decides to go to the ATM that has the out of service sign on it.
I'm sure this will go down well.
Removes the sign from it, and he puts his card in the ATM. He taps the screen a bit, and then, I can't see what's going on, but he's just kind of standing there. And he taps the screen some more, and he looks at the card hole, and then he's just like, looks around a little bit, and then he takes his phone out and he's calling support, and he's like, hey, my card's stuck in the ATM. And I wanted to turn and just go, dude.
You dumb motherfucker.
Dude, what did you expect?
I am truly shocked here because the sign said out of service, and he removed the sign to do this, and I am truly stunned as how we have survived as a species.
Because basically the point is that we used to send those people to eat the berries. They're like, yeah, totally, yeah, those are berries. Totally
they
edible.
would be. I mean, that's the whole thing of like how we would discover some things is, hey,
trial
that's
and
not,
error.
Trial and error, but. I mean, yeah, that was part of my adventure today.
Also, before
there's
we
me,
get
the
into-
anthropologist, who's just sitting here like, yeah, no, the real reason why humans have survived so long is because we're communal and we take care of each other. That is the only reason why we have survived. We have no other biological advantages other than we're intelligent.
Yeah, he's hoping that dude is like a artist or like something, has some innate quality that gives him the capacity to be a wonderful craftsman or art or contribute to the world in some way other than his brain, because clearly he has very little one. But rumors.
I was just hoping that he was drunk or something.
I need to tell you about the rumors, because last week was awash with rumors.
Wait, what? Rumors of what?
Yeah, you have said rumors like 10 times.
I have said rumors because I thought, because the thing was, I was like, I can't say which rumors there are because there's basically two big groups. One is...
But, like...
Shush, I'm going to tell you, Tucker, if you shut your mouth, you will find out faster. Right, so, rumor group one. Konami is working on a new Castlevania title, and then it immediately followed that basically Konami's had an internal reshuffle and now they want to get back into console game development, which apparently means they've outsourced multiple Silent Hill titles, apparently. They have also what was it? It was they're apparently remaking Metal Gear Snake Eater, and there was another franchise that I cannot remember what it was for the life of me. Just give me a second. But basically, all that stuff, all that IP that they've just been sat on for years, doing pretty much nothing with except making pachinko machines. Suddenly, it's like, oh, we're getting actual titles for it now. So,
or adding characters to Dead by Daylight.
Or adding characters to Dead by Daylight. So, that's basically... And also, apparently, one of those projects of the Silent Hill variety is outsourcing it to Sony and Hideo Kojima, who apparently has Junji Ito back, as well as Guillermo del Toro, to finish Silent Hills. Which, if it's true, is mind-blowing. Because if that's just like, oh, here, finish all the work that we literally drove you to Sony to over our shit handling of it.
There is a rumor that in the mid-chapter update for Dead by Daylight that they're adding a legendary cosmetic to Cheryl, one of the survivors that was in the Silent Hill games was brought in.
Sunderland, yeah.
Yeah, the rumor is James Sunderland is being brought in, which...
I love how your comparable rumor to me saying, holy fuck, Konami's making games again, and one of them is apparently remaking the Silent Hills.
Well, the fact... Well, it shows
ages.
the license being active right now. It shows the license... Also, they're checking out the interest or the hype behind it.
Well, there are a few other things we have to remember when it comes to licensing and things like that. One of them is... and also this is true for copyrights, very much if you don't use it, you lose it. So that's also a part of this as well and granted, I don't know if their copyrights or licensing agreements are expiring anytime soon.
Yeah, because literally the thing that's bothered me about Konami before this, outside of all the other shit that Konami does, but like, just the sheer logical inconsistency of like, listen, you have a thing people want, right? Business 101 here.
Oh, yeah.
You have a thing people desperately want. Literally will shout from the rooftops all day about how they want more Silent Hill. You make pachinko machines. Why not let someone pay you to make a Silent Hill game that you then get money off of and minimal risk? And it's just like, there's only a win for you here. Why would you not do that? But like I said, apparently they've had an internal shuffle, and that's why there's suddenly this big push. The other group of rumours, because earlier in the week it came out that, apparently... Now, this was phrased oddly, so forgive me if I'm not quite remembering the details of this right. That after the Hawkeye series... there is apparently going to be a Disney Plus Punisher show with Jon Bernthal returning. And the next fucking day, suddenly it's like, also there's going to be a Disney Plus Daredevil show, which is going to apparently be a soft reboot with all the same actors returning. Now, as someone who's been shouting, please, for the love of God, if you're going to bring Daredevil and Punisher back, don't recast them. They're too good in the roles. Just you don't need to recast them. Mm-hmm. They're young. They still, it's not like like Hugh Jackman, absolutely love him, but like he's not, he's basically grown out of the role at this point in terms of like, if they want him to get, the hyper, I've never liked the hyper shredded. I actually prefer him in X1, where he was just a slightly more muscular than normal dude. And that was it. Rather than like that, I can see every muscle on this man's body. Shit. Whereas...
like, for me at least, when it comes to at least Hugh Jackman, part of it is also as well, he played that character for such a long time.
Oh, yeah. Like, no disrespect to him.
He ended it so perfectly that I honestly, granted this is going to be a tiny bit of a tangent, but I am very much of the opinion that we honestly should not have anyone cast as Wolverine for the next maybe 10 plus years.
I
in
think
that
No,
if
we
are
can
to-
absolutely have Wolverine
we need
again.
We need a break between Jackman
Why,
Logan
though?
and a new
Like
Logan.
I
Listen,
understand like like we can have a different type of
No.
Wolverine
Hold
that's
on.
in the MCU
Tucker.
that would be
Hold on. My suggestion was going to be that if they were to do a Wolverine-esque thing, it's going to be X-23, which is meant to be like his daughter or clone, or depending on which comic you go off of.
Also,
That's what I was about to suggest, is something that is different enough, because anyone who is any male trying to essentially be the Wolverine is going to get compared to Hugh Jackman, and that's just unfair, and pretty much is going to write and die on, okay, I need to be
funny
better.
because like he's not like all you have to do is go for a slightly more comic book accurate Logan. More likely, like just get a short, hairy guy who's very angry, and he's probably going to be closer to comic Logan than he is the Jackman.
Oh
Logan.
yeah. Oh yeah,
but once again, not to just besmirch
yeah.
Jackman's Wolverine. It's just he was very good for, especially as long as he kept it up. He clearly loved being that character. However, in comic books, what's the point of every single Crisis of Venom? Any single time, like, oh, there's a multiversal war shit happening. What's the actual point of it? The actual point of it is, oh shit, we have loads of branching storylines, loads of different iterations of these characters, and they've kind of all gotten a bit out of hand. So what we're going to do, we're going to say, oh, it's a multiversal event, and then it's all going to go back to the same universe, but we're going to cherry pick the bits we like and throw it into the main verse. So I reckon by the time all the multiverse stuff ends up finishing, we're going to have mutants, we're going to have basically all the Fox stuff is going to become continuity. Certain people who are aware of the what happens in the spoilers for Venom 2, slightly intimating things. The teaser at the end of Venom 2.
Like a proper way to say is that like this is a spoilers only for the after credit scene in Venom 2. This isn't a spoiler for Venom 2 itself, just the after credit scene.
Okay, so
and in the after credit scene of Venom 2, Eddie and Venom, they're kind of talking to each other. And Venom offers Eddie an opportunity to see the knowledge that Venom has. They're like, I can show you hundreds of millions of years of our science and our technology and all that kind of stuff. Do you want a taste of it?
I can show you a world.
And
he's showing
Eddie
you
says,
lots of
sure.
stuff.
And they kind of like try to do this merge thing, and Eddie suddenly his room changes, and on the screen is J. Jonah Jameson talking about it. It is the scene with Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and he's saying Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and Venom like licks the screen and is like, yes, looking at Spider-Man. Yeah. So Venom is in the MCU.
And also, we are about a hair's breadth away from...
Which I think that is the first time
what I want
outside thing is confirmed.
You know what I want more than Oxygen? I want Disney to get Tom Hardy and Ryan Reynolds, throw them in a room, give them a shit ton of money, and just say, make us a Venom Deadpool rom-com, write a script... We'll make it when you're done, okay? How about that? Because I need to see Venom just bouncing off of Deadpool and vice versa. I think that's going to be great. And also, like, for fuck's sake, Ryan Reynolds fought for 10 fucking years minimum to be Deadpool. Everyone at Fox was like, nah, it's not going to work. And he was like, no, it's totally going to work. You just need to let me do it the way I need to do it. And it was pretty much in spite of Fox that they finally managed to get the first Deadpool movie made. And I love how he phrased it, because... Is
this the first time that a outside character has been officially brought into the MCU?
I think it is. The only thing that can be kind of sort of questionable that pops up in my mind is the Incredible Hulk. Is the only thing I can think of, because I don't think that was made by Marvel. I want to say that was made by Paramount.
No,
well, no, that's part of the MCU.
Funny thing.
Maybe the Deadpool trailer or the Free Guy trailer. That's like Deadpool and Korg, but I don't know if that's official.
No, I don't think that's canon. But let me tell you something funny about the. What were you just talking about, Scott?
We were talking about people, or was this the first time that an out?
Yeah, I know, yeah. But what did you just say? Because I was like, I've got a funny story about that, and then
we're talking about the Incredible Hulk.
Yes, I do know. Yeah, okay. So that was made by I fucking forget. Either way, after Disney, I think that was made by Paramount, yeah, but it was still the MCU. It was all same continuity. But in between, but before Avengers, Disney had purchased the MCU. Now they did a test screening where they showed the movie to test audiences with a Disney logo, and then they showed it to audiences with a Paramount logo. So and for some reason, the movie tested better with the Paramount logo. So they paid Paramount a shit ton of money to say, can we use your logo even though you had pretty much nothing to do with this? And now every version of the movie you see, or at least as far as I'm aware, has the Paramount logo in front of it. Isn't that insane?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've heard that they've had the issues with Hulk, but I've also had ideas with Hawkeye that they might be bringing in Kingpin.
Vincent D'Onofrio has said literally all they have to do is give him a call and he'd love to play that character again, and he was so great. So yes,
well, because in the comic book, that it's from what I've been hearing from the community, the comic book that the Hawkeye show looks like it's going to be taking inspiration from, the person that is in charge of the group that is going after Hawkeye,
the Kingpin of crime,
is paid for by Kingpin. So there's a rumor that they'll have whoever the actor was,
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah,
have
him.
Yeah, Sorry, I will say I do love the casting for the Punisher and Daredevil. I think casting-wise it's going to be good, but sweet Jesus Christ, they need to fix the writing, because I remember, Season 1 Punisher was good, Daredevil Season 1 was really good.
I like Season 2 Punisher, mostly because, once again, it's kind of Frank being a dad, and I'm always a big sucker for that. Season 2 Daredevil I thought was just as good. Unfortunately, because it's been a while since I've watched them, Season 1 is pretty fucking spectacular from the start to finish. Season 2 is still pretty fucking solid, because actually, here's the thing, now I remember Season 2. Okay, so Season 2, all of the Punisher storyline is incredible. Just as good as the first season. Unfortunately, all the hand stuff and Elektra herself is great, but the hand stuff really suddenly gets very, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. Either way, so in the nutshell, and also that can mostly be laid blame at, oh god, who was it? It was Jeff something. Either way, there was a higher up at Marvel who was just super racist against Asian people for some reason. And even though they were like, oh, we wanted to have this great big story with the hand, he was just like, no one wants to hear Asian people talk or something like that. He said crazy shit. And he's no longer with the company for obvious reasons, at least as far as I'm aware.
Have y'all seen Shang-Chi?
Not yet. I have a 5-year-old, haven't been able to get a babysitter for a while. I'm desperate to see it, though.
It's coming out on Disney Plus in November then, but I have seen it, and I went in with high expectations and was still blown away by it. But from what we I know what Seeker has seen, because I guess we're doing. I mean, we were going to have two. The idea was to have two different subjects of horror video games as one thing, but then also Marvel with other stuff.
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
So
good.
what are your thoughts on the episodes of What If?
What If has been pretty friggin' consistent.
Which, spoiler from, like, there
All the
will be
previous
segments
episodes,
So
in the bottom of the video, and, like, so this is spoilers for that. You can skip on to the next part if you don't want.
So I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen What If. I've seen enough spoilers for What If that I know the really thick, big things. So I guess I'll just get my dumbass, uneducated opinion out of the way, so then, the more educated people can correct me and tell me I'm wrong. What If has been a lot more fucking important than I thought it was going to be. I thought What If was going to be a, very much a
fluff. Yeah, thought
Yeah.
experiment kind of thing.
Yeah, thought experiment fluff.
And then
it's
somebody's
like,
like, oh,
nah,
no.
man. Yeah, no, we setting up the multiverse, and we're gonna make it a slam fucking dunk.
Yeah,
And
pretty
it's
much.
and it's interesting because I think it's a good realization by Disney's end of just like our shows, time and time again, have been proven to be just as popular as the movies. Mm-hmm. Probably
especially since like the timing of like WandaVision in particular. Being like, oh, it's a callback to all these old sitcoms, and it sort of starts off at least very comfy and safe, and don't ignore everything that's going on outside.
Well, and especially with
exactly like Wanda's doing.
I think one thing that really kind of nails this coffin, the nail in the coffin for this, is the fact that I would not be surprised, especially after, like, with this pandemic, a lot more people are staying home and stuff like that. They are probably getting a lot of data on the fact that, like, okay, are people actually watching the shows? What is, like, what is the correlation and the relationship between people who watch the movies and watch the shows? And I would not be surprised if it is enough that they can go, do you know what? No, we can put really important shit in...
Rely on the audience.
In the TV shows. And then have them pay off later in our films.
One thing I heard that was really a testament to that in a slightly adjacent Disney thing was I heard I was listening to the Batman podcast. It's Batman Beyond now, which is run by Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin, who's a great podcast if anyone wants to listen to some nerdy shit. Mm-hmm. But when Kevin's away, it gets redubbed Black Man Beyond because Mark Bernardin himself is black, and then he gets to invite people of colour on and talk about nerd spaces with people of colour, and it's great. Because he was off filming Clerks 3. And he had Rahul Kohli on, who, if you're not familiar with his work, he was on iZombie, he was in Haunting of Bly Manor, recently in Midnight Mass, and he's fantastic. Absolutely love him as an actor. He's also great on Twitter. But he was talking about how much, like, his lightning strike moment as a kid for, like, oh yeah, I need to consume all of this for the rest of my life was watching Star Wars, as happens with many young kids his age. And and his mum never really connected with it. She was just like, oh, that's nice, go off, enjoy your go see a Star Wars, pretty much. And then recently she watched the Mandalorian show, and he's now texting her back and forth, explaining like who Boba Fett is and what Yoda is and why that's important. He's just like, I'm having conversations about Star Wars with my mother because of this show on Disney Plus that she loves. And it's great that we can now reach conversations about the ubiquity of Disney owning everything aside. That's kind of a different conversation. But for creative purposes, the fact that just as a slight tangent, but there's a branch of criticism, quote unquote, that sort of sprung out of like internet nitpicking, if That's the best way to call it. Where it's just like, if a movie doesn't explain beat for beat, exhaustively, exactly what everything in it is, you'll get people say, oh, it's a plot hole or something, or how did that happen? Like, the most aggravating one for me was, I remember seeing a CinemaSins video for Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And in it, they sin the movie because Captain America, Steve Rogers, who served in World War II, knows French. When he was stationed in France, it's like, I think we can infer he probably picked up a little bit of French when he was, fighting the Nazis.
Or is it hard to believe that someone was multilingual in fucking New York, of all places? I mean, shit. In the comics, English isn't his first language. It's Gaelic. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I mean, is it really that hard to believe that he's minimum bilingual, if not multilingual? Is that hard to believe?
Speaking of multilingual, because my fiance's been replaying the PS4 Spider-Man and Miles Morales games, there's a storyline where there's a deaf street artist called Haley, and she's one of the best contributions to the game, primarily because, and it's in his bio as well in the game, you can see this, Miles is fluent in ASL. So he's perfectly able to communicate with her in ASL, and they subtitle it for those who don't speak ASL, which is great. Because obviously, also British Sign Language is different than ASL, so, I wish I was fluent in either sign language, but I am not, sadly. But she's this real fleshed out person, and she's brave, and she's creative, and she's good. And at the end of her storyline, she gives her earmuffs and scarf to Miles. And as soon as she did that, I was like, oh, please come back for the sequel and be, please be. I ship them so much. Please, we're gonna go back. And this is just basically for what any other type of writing probably would have just made her an incidental character. Like, cute, but because she's that just important in the fact that you rarely see any deaf characters, let alone characters that are fully realized as people and get to be heroic in their own way, is just...
Well, Eternals is going to have a deaf character.
Yes, I'm aware. And also the MCU's first canonically gay character, as far as I'm aware.
Well, gay superhero. They have the
Faces.
character in Endgame.
I was going to say, I know Loki is now canonically genderqueer and bisexual, so it's like, okay, yep.
I sold my PlayStation 4 as well as my Xbox One, because I have the Xbox Series X. Mm-hmm. But I sold my PlayStation 4 to one of my coworkers, and then my Xbox One to another one of my coworkers, but gave him God of War, Spider-Man, Uncharted trilogy.
Got a sweet deal. Also what? Persona.
Well, it was just games that I had. I just tossed those in with that, and he's been playing through God of War and been enjoying that.
I can't wait for Ragnarok. It's gonna be so good.
But my thoughts with What If, the first few episodes, I was not enjoying. I mean, I enjoyed moderate the first one, and then the second one with T'Challa at Star-Lord, I just didn't much care for that episode. You didn't
like that one? That's my favorite one!
And it was almost purely because of the whoever was the character that was a big fan of T'Challa. That part of him.
He's adorable.
Yeah, sure. But it gets played too much. Cute. And it throws it off for it. And
honestly, I had to
But then the third episode brought it back because I thought it was kind of fun figuring out who did what with it. And then, started enjoying it from there. But, I thought some of the best episodes were if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark.
That shit was amazing.
That episode was just phenomenal.
Considering
Across
that they had Michael B. Jordan shrug and say, I like anime. It's like, yeah, you do, mister. I'm going to base my entire look for Killmonger on Vegeta and hope no one notices.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Seriously, yeah, he said, I want to look as much like Vegeta as possible. Look at his outfit. It is Vegeta's outfit.
Hey, you should watch the series.
He pretty much, in What If, he canonically makes some fucking Gundams because, quote, he likes anime. And they even bring Andy Serkis back as Ulysses Claw, which was just a fucking gift for me because any more screen time of Andy Serkis is a joy.
And then What If zombies, I was a little disappointed because I thought a better opportunity. So the thing that starts the zombie plague is a quantum thing. It was when they went down to get Hope, they went to get Janet, and she was infected from that. I thought because they already had a focus on Hank Pym and all of them with the murder one. That with this one, the zombies, I thought it would have been better if in the opening of Civil War, when they're in Sokovia, and they have that vial, what if the vial broke and that gas was released and that was the viral plague and that was the Civil War. I thought that would have been a better starting point.
They're only like, what, 20 minutes? Like, they can go, they've gone for some pretty hard
stuff. I'm just meaning that, like, instead of the origin of the virus being from the quantum realm, if the origin of the virus was from the Sokovia situation, and instead of them saving the gas, if the gas went off, and it was a viral infection, and that's what caused the plague. Like, I just felt like that starting of it was a bit weird.
Scott, I just put an image of Vegeta and Killmonger in the chat, just so you can see.
God fucking damn it! It is Vegeta and God damn it!
But without a doubt, the best episode was the most recent one, with What If Ultron won.
That shit has certainly had the biggest. That shit certainly had the biggest implications for the multiverse going forward, because we've had this. We
had Infinity Ultron fighting the Watcher in a 10-minute Dragon Ball Z style multiversal god tier fight.
And at one point they were
so fucking cool.
Yeah, and at one point he's beating the shit out of him, and they sort of jump into a multiverse where Steve Rogers is getting sworn in as president. I'm like, no, stay here, please.
Fun. Okay, one thing I did see is fun fact. They actually fight through Mustafar at one point.
Yes.
from Star Wars.
When I saw the lava planet, I was like,
oh wait, they go through Fallujah too? Oh fuck yeah!
What, Fallujah? Where's Fallujah?
Wait.
In Star Wars Episode 3.
Yeah. Do you remember the Twilight girl that gets...
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I know it's very similar to that.
Yeah, which is also a little sketchy, especially if you know the history of the city of Fallujah, but...
I didn't even recognize it, but I did love just the bit where... Hawkeye's ready to give up, and the Watcher's like, no, get up, the answer, he's right there, just look in the box, because he literally just turns into everyone who's ever watched something, was like, come on, you can do it, it's right there.
Yeah, no, it is definitely interesting though that, like, because the big theory that I have been seeing around, and again, I know, like, the big, thick spoilers for the most part, and I don't know much of the context, is that essentially what is going to stir off a lot of the more multiverse stuff is going to be the Watcher essentially, like, defeats Ultron, and then essentially starts actually getting involved in breaking the cardinal rules.
Yeah, because if he breaks his vow to not get involved, it's like, well, can't make that vow again. I've got involved. So I guess we'll have to see when Multiverse of Madness rocks around. But
so I also really enjoyed in that episode of how they had like the Kirby, like Jack Kirby's little orb, celestial things around. Because I mean, the Watcher and Infinity Ultron were using powers on a level that we haven't seen yet in the MCU. They were using full-on celestial shit, and
I remember when Ultron
really
just
cool.
lasered Thanos in half. I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, and, I mean, there's a lot of questions.
Thinking you could do that the whole time?
Well, I mean, not just that, but how did he get the Time Stone and without already being on Earth? And where did he get the Soul Stone?
I'd like to posit something to you. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't really matter much.
No.
It's just a kind of a fun story.
Yeah.
But
I love with the Marvel Zombies one when you had undead Thanos and someone pointed out, hey guys, Thanos still has the Soul Stone. No matter what the universe is, Gamora can't catch a fucking break.
Well, how about Sony can't catch a break? He
No.
dies in all of them. But speaking about the one that he surprisingly doesn't die in, I was expecting, I thought the Thor one was the worst episode.
I'll say, listen, I'll say it's the
I
weakest
thought that
one,
I was surprised they didn't
it's
have.
the most fun one, I'd say.
I'm surprised they didn't have Tony Stark die of alcohol poisoning in that one.
That would have been fucking grim out of nowhere. Honestly, seeing Chris Hemsworth just being completely.
I was kind of
I just want to see
episode.
Chris Hemsworth doing more comedy and have him doing basically here's a comedy run with Thor, and also the adorable little Easter egg of Jotun Loki referring to him as my brother from another mother, which is, if you don't know, what he and which Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth have been referring to each other as since the first Thor movies. It's like, that's cute.
No.
No.
But so there's only one episode remaining, and we know that it's going to be Party Thor, Killmonger,
Do we?
Black Widow, Doctor Strange, or like the evil Doctor Strange, T'Challa, and Captain Carter. But I've heard that zombie Thanos is also going to be used to fight Infinity Ultron.
One of my favorite things.
That's gonna be.
And if that is true, that will be
amazing.
awesome. If there's because they have the individual heroes, but you need the army of minions to have those kind of fights, and it's like zombie Ultron and as his zombie army versus the Ultron bots. Just the ideas and the theories that I'm having in my head are just so. I'm having.
One of my favorite things in the T'Challa as Star-Lord episode was because T'Challa is just better than Peter Quill in every single metric. He's just like, oh yeah, the Ravagers are like near enough a diplomatic peacekeeping organization now. Oh, I managed to persuade Thanos out of his genocidal tendencies, and now he's just a bartender.
That was I was just
but occasionally still gets referred to as Captain Genocide. Captain fucking Genocide. Oh, and Howard the Duck will help out occasionally because why not?
And, I mean, if they fucking have T'Challa conversate Ultron out of this,
it will be great.
I'm just gonna throw my arms up and give up.
Yeah, but I melted when Nebula, who is a thing for T'Challa, Star-Lord T'Challa, and when she called him Cha-Cha, and I was like, Cha-Cha! Like, God, I can't imagine, like, the 5 people on the planet who were shipping Nebula and T'Challa before that episode must have just had the best day ever. Like, my crack ship happened! Oh my God!
That is the ultimate. That is a hell of a crack. That's not even a crack ship. That's just we are going to
That's
ship
like, okay.
this one character with all the other characters, and then we're gonna do a poll on which one everyone likes the most. And then way down at the bottom is Nebula and goddamn
oh,
T'Challa.
that'll never work. And it's like, holy shit, it actually works in context. In that scenario. But, yeah, the whole thing's great. And I really like the What If, and I can't wait. I think they've greenlit it for 2 more seasons, I think. But I can't wait for more.
And I don't know how, like, they said that they have had voice lines for T'Challa for season 2 as
They've
well.
said that? I thought it was only season 1. But
that's what I thought too, but I've heard some places
I will
saying
wait
that
for
also
confirmation
season
from
2.
that. I don't
Yeah.
know for that. But Scott, I was really surprised that you couldn't be persuaded to watch What If when I said Captain Carter is, big, strong, beautiful lady.
Yeah,
That seems like
yes,
it would
I
have
know
been
that is
entirely
a
up your
weakness. Look,
Yes.
yes, I'm aware I want to get crushed in between that beautiful woman's thighs. That is utterly besides
As
the
do
point.
I.
I have
Oh
just
my
been.
God.
I'm sorry, I've been busy and studying for the GRE. Fuck off.
But big, strong, beautiful Hayley Atwell. And
Yes,
honestly, I would love a Captain Carter movie. I'd like 5 Captain Carter movies, to be honest. I am a simp for Captain Carter.
GREs sound pretty scary, just like a few of these game suggestions that we probably have.
Whoop. Yeah. So
Because it
that
is
one
spooky
hurt.
season.
So
That-
I'm going to
that
tell
hurt
you
me a
about
little.
my Halloween tradition now, because I have stepkids, and what we do when it's Halloween, which is one of my stepkids, it's their favorite season. So we get a Dark Anthology game, who are the same guys who made Until Dawn and Man of Medan and Little Hope and oh god,
Has the new one come out?
I
the
think it's coming out
Ashes
House of Ashes.
House of Ashes.
And that's going to be coming out soon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick it up, and we're going to play it together. Tell you what was really funny though was last time we played, I think it was Man of Medan we played, because I think Little Hope came out at a slightly different weird time for some reason. But anyway, we played Man of Medan, and because obviously you don't know anything about the characters going in, so I was just like, oh sure, I'll be this character, and you pass the controller to the next person's like, they'll be that character. So I was because I decided to be nice to my stepson's character, we ended up making out in a closet, and I was just like, no, this is awkward.
Oh no!
Like, oh no. I should say our characters ended up making out in a closet, not us. That would be even weirder. Yes, so some suggestions for spoopy games. If you want to absolutely shit your pants, Alien Isolation. If you're brave enough to
that was
do it
gonna
with
be
the VR, absolutely.
That was going to be one of my suggestions.
One of my suggestions.
I don't do
for...
spoopy games, so I will contribute as much as I can, but I don't do spoopy.
There's something I've been playing a bit recently with some of my friends is the original Nazi zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is still that's still got some good little jump scares.
I found a video filmed of my sister and a friend of hers playing it about, an embarrassing amount of years ago, and she ended up screaming the house down. And I was just like, yeah, it still works. It's adorable. But there's also there's the Until Dawn, there's the Dark Anthologies, the Mans of Medan, the House of Ashes.
Dead by Daylight is
by
another
Daylight.
game
Yeah,
I will forever recommend. Although they are adding something new to the game, new perks that I'm really concerned about, and they are boon totems for survivors, which make it killers already have a lot to do and are supposed to be the power side. And it's already been feeling like it's weighted towards survivors, and this just adds more weight towards them. So it's just like, it just seems like it's making it more difficult. But for being a fan of horror, you can't get much better than Dead by Daylight if you're a fan of horror movies, because you have all of your icons right there.
Have they got Sam from Trick or Treat in yet?
No,
I love him.
but with the new Chucky show coming out,
They'll have
my
Chucky,
hope
I'm sure.
is that they will add Chucky.
They've also just remastered Alan Wake and released that, so if you want a spooky thing.
Oh, okay. I have.
They
played
already
this
have
shit
flashlights
Yeah.
in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, I have played Alan Wake. Alan Wake is that game is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. If you want something that isn't dark but is also going to scare the shit out of you, Doki Doki Literature Club. I can't say any more about this for those who don't know.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
You should
and
play.
It's free.
It's free, yes.
It's-
but they just
you can
released
just-
a new version that has lots of different extra bits in it, so that you might have to pay for that one. But yeah, go play
That
Doki
one
Doki.
is on console.
Go play
I
Doki
think.
Doki. Especially play it with friends. You'll have fun. You'll have fun. Also, if you want like more of a personal kind of eldritch, like exploration of the mind type horror, Layers of Fear, I highly recommend. I assume, of course, you've got your amnesias for the scaring the living piss out of you. If you want
Yeah,
to
I
do
was
that.
about to say that's
ever-
Amnesia's just a classic in general.
Did you ever play the original Fear?
I never did, but I've seen. I was put off because I saw a friend playing, and just the bit where you walk along like a gangway, and you head towards this ladder, you turn around, and there's
yes.
stood behind you, just no, and I immediately
There's
got
nothing behind
paranoid.
you, and as
Yeah.
you, I love that one. And then as you're
Tucker, you've been talking
walking
about-
through the hallway at one part, and then she flashes in front of you, and then there's blood everywhere, and
Like, nope,
I mean,
nope.
that was
Um,
terrifying.
My favourite scary game that I've played recently was probably Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8, The Village. Sorry, I was looking at Resident Evil 7. Either way, it's up on my screen. But Resident Evil Village is so good.
Ooh,
It's
a game
about
that's
the most...
on my list
Yeah.
to play this month that I haven't played is Resident Evil 2.
That's still good. Yeah, I would say...
I have the remastered one of it,
I was
and
gonna
I was going to go through and play that.
I love, like, I've only seen the remaster, so I can only comment on the remaster. But I love Leon and Claire, and I ship them very much. And it's just like every single version is just Leon chasing. It doesn't matter if it's a movie, it's a game.
Which one is better for a the first time a person is playing through the game?
Remaster for sure. There's a lot of just
No. With Claire or
I'd say Leon.
Leon.
Yeah. But for like first time, go with Leon, and he's so
Okay.
pretty. I've never seen a more pretty man than Leon.
Okay,
Kennedy
because
in that game.
that's the important
Oh my
choice,
God.
right? Like, if I'm going to be looking at some ass, may as well be some Leon ass.
Yeah.
And also Claire is very hot as well. So like you can't be let down either way. Leon's
I'm
route
aware
also
from Dead by
has-
Daylight.
Yeah. Leon's route also has Ada Wong, who is also very attractive. I can't think of anyone else who's attractive in their run because they're either zombies or monsters. So it's like,
You don't know what the kink could be.
I don't want to know what that kink is. If your kink is zombies and monsters, by all means, just don't tell me about it.
You want to know what
No!
actually
What did I
exists
just
in
say?
this world?
What did I just
You know
say?
how there are those porn parodies for almost everything?
Yes.
You want to know what zombie
called-
TV show?
Is there
has
a Walking
a-
Dead?
There absolutely is.
Why would no? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Soma is also tremendous for like holy
want some
fuck
real
existential
fear.
horror. If you were like the futility of your own existence and that kind of shit, holy fuck, you're not going to get too much better than that. I'm trying to think of anything else. That I.
But
I
let's
can
I mean,
personally attest to.
let's talk a little bit about the games that we recommend. Like Alien Isolation, a reason why I absolutely love that game so much is it captures the atmosphere of Alien so well. It is depicting what the past, like what the 60s and 70s and so on,
The
what
60s?
they thought. What they thought the
future was gonna look like.
future.
I just have to bring this up for a second because I watched this last night.
Are you aware of the whole Neil Blomkamp alien thing? Okay, so
What do you mean?
the director of District 9, Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah.
Okay,
You mean
so
like how it was going to be Halo, or?
Yeah, he was going to make a Halo movie at 10 of District 9. It's a whole thing. He's directed other things since, like Elysium and lots of other things. Either way, the point is, he was hired to be like, oh, what are your ideas for Alien? So he made a whole thing, and he made Chappie, which had Sigourney Weaver on it. Bear in mind, Sigourney Weaver has been notoriously reluctant to return to the franchise. Yes, he did Chappie as well. Sigourney Weaver has been notoriously reluctant to return to the franchise because obviously the franchise has been pretty shit lately. And he just said, okay, here's my pitch for what I want to do for Alien. And she said, sign me up, I'm happy to do it. And after Fox, because this was before they were bought by Disney, after Fox said, oh, we don't want to go ahead with the project, he was just like, okay, here's the concept art for all the stuff I was going to do and the rough story outline, and he just put it on the internet. Now, obviously, like, I don't know 100% if he put it on the internet or just got leaked on the internet. Either way, it's kind of nebulous because he didn't deny it. Fox was very irritated about this and didn't want to make his movie. Now, he's just put out a load of horror shorts, and this is like hard sci-fi horror, called Oats Studios, and it's on Netflix if you look for it. Now, one short is called Cooking with Bill, and that's very funny. Still, bear in mind, I'm not someone who gags very easily at like food-based horror stuff, but I gagged at that, so be warned. The second one is all set around like the Vietnam War, and it's so gory. I have to just say, please go in with caution if you are remotely squeamish about gore, because that's very hardcore. But the first one is basically just like, oh, here's every single one in some form or another felt to me like, oh, here's my audition for the Alien movie I would have made if you'd let me. And I think he either directed and either wrote or co-wrote all the shorts.
Okay.
And there's a tremendous one called God, which is fantastic, and it's hilarious. And I highly recommend if you go in and just watch the God one, if you don't want horror, if you just want, if you want to laugh at something that's designed to be funny, just go watch the God one and peace out. But if you want some sci-fi horror, I cannot recommend more highly than that. Also, there's a bit in The Last of Us Part 2 which really reminded me of one of the shorts, and if you know that game, you may be able to guess what I'm talking about, but holy fucking shit, I've never seen that concept realised more horrifically than I have in that short called a Zygote is the short that has the thing in it. I was just like, oh god, stop showing it, please. I don't want to see it. No, you're showing it again. Please don't. I haven't been so ready to hide behind my own couch since I was like 10.
You want to know what is one of my favorite horror shorts that I have come across?
Mm-hmm.
So, this one's on YouTube. I think it's only like 10 minutes long or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it is a zombie outbreak is taking place, and it's from the viewpoint of one of those living statues.
Oh no.
From the people that paint themselves and they pretend to be statues.
I know what a living statue is.
And the paint covers the smell, so the zombies are ignoring them, but they're also standing still. And he's looking at all the other living statues that are also all standing still, and they're all trying to figure out how are they going to get out of this situation. And it's really funny and really clever of an idea, and it works perfectly as a short, as it wouldn't work as like a movie or anything, but I thought it was pretty funny, and definitely a little nice appetizer of a horror thing.
There's a lot of
but
horror comedies.
With Alien Isolation as well, when you're going across whatever the ship is, it feels like
the
you
Nostromo?
are within. don't
the
think
Sulaco. The Sulaco is the one that Amanda recognizes.
It feels like you're in the alien universe, and the alien that you come across, the xenomorph, is absolutely terrifying. The AI
Also,
is remarkable.
Yeah, the robots, I forget, the androids, I forget what they're called. They're also terrifying. And I remember at one point I got a bit frustrated because I couldn't get past this one section. So like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run through it. I'm gonna run through this one section because it was filled with these robots and I'm just like these android people, and I'm just like, ugh. After like 4 or 5 tries of trying to sneak through them, I just couldn't do it. So like, I'm gonna run, and I could fucking see the save point. I was like, I did it! Alien just runs at me and goes, ah!
Shit.
Well, and I mean, another thing to mention is that the alien's AI
Learns what you do.
It learns.
If you're inclined to hide in like the under things, it will check under things. If you hide in the
like tables.
in the lockers, it will check the lockers, which is terrifying, but it also means you have to switch up your strategy.
And depending on what devices you use to distract, if you use one more frequently, it will start to learn to ignore it.
Yeah.
There's 2 different AI directors that are going on. One is specifically for the xenomorph, and one is the game's AI that reads where you are, and it will give off occasional pings to the xenomorph, and then the xenomorph will move its way around the map, which allows the game to play differently every time that you go through it, because the AI isn't scripted through certain routes. It is completely finding its way through to you.
Mm-hmm. And it's terrifying. And every single time you're in an open space, there's always it's one of the best lit games I've seen in a while. Just because
it's a beautiful looking game too.
It's beautiful, but if you lit it, how you would, like it to be lit, it would be like, oh, there's no shadows here. But the way it's lit in the game, every shadow, everything could hide the alien, and you are the most paranoid fucker on the planet. I'm genuine, and some people play it in the VR mode, and I'm not brave enough to do it because I would just absolutely lose my shit the second that thing pounced on me, or I would have to see it in a physical space I would have to then interact with. Just no thank you.
Another horror game to recommend would be Little Nightmares. And
Little Nightmares, I was going to recommend Little Nightmares as well, because that also...
even though it's a side-scroller, and it's like, you wouldn't really expect it much, because it does kind of look like a kid's type of game.
Oh, it's not.
It has some really dark themes, and dark characters, and it has some fun puzzles, and...
Eyeballs. So many eyeballs. Eyeballs.
In Little Nightmares 2, there is one character that's the teacher that her body kind of stands still and her neck moves around like a snake and it's creepy. It's great.
It's the worst.
It is short.
In the best way.
So you don't have to commit a lot of time to it. Absolutely great game.
Okay.
I would say I can't really recommend the one thing. There's just because we had a lot of good recommendations. 2 things I would say to avoid, just because I either don't think they're worth your time for the payoff they give, or I'll say I just remembered there's a little indie game that's being made called Choo Choo Charlie, and what you're a person on a little island, and you have to jump on this train and fight off a spider train.
That's
called
weird.
Choo Choo Charlie,
Okay.
and it's very creative. It definitely got inspired by those Thomas the Tank Engine as a spider things, but I was very delighted by the fact that someone was like, no, I'm totally going to make a full game out of this. So, and it also just kind of reminded me by the other thing. But either way, 2 games I wouldn't recommend. One is The Medium by I think it's Blooper Team. I think it's Bloober. Either way, avoid. It's not worth it. It's trying to be Silent Hill, and it doesn't understand what Silent Hill does or is, so it does it very badly, and ends up having a very toxic message by the end of it that's just not worth engaging with. But basically it's like, if you have PTSD, you should just kill them. If someone has PTSD, it's not that they can recover from it, so just kill them. Why not? Not fun. Also with the Blair Witch game, it seems like they're trying to tackle, or at least someone came in with some big ideas, which, like, by all means, that's great. But the way they go about executing a lot of it, and a lot of the twists, you can sort of like, okay, I'm 90% sure where this is going, and then it acts like it's a big reveal, and generally, you just... is a bit of a disappointing experience for what it could have been. But, yeah.
There's some classic ones to recommend, like Clock Tower, the Clock Tower series, which is a point-and-click adventure that has this one villain that chases you around called Scissor Man. That is absolutely terrifying.
What's the one? The Rule of Rose,
And-
is it? That shit's horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, there
And,
was
that was
some...
Capcom.
Oh,
There's also Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frame. Also, if you can find it, if you can get a hold of it, play Devotion. If you can get a hold of it. Now, the reason you might not be able to get a hold of it is because the oh god, I forget exactly his title, but the president of China, I think he's the president, in the game was found like a file that you couldn't see, but like some people found it, where it was a drawing of Winnie the Pooh and the president of China's name written on it or something. It was something like that, but like this very, buried in the code shit. And then China proceeded to just ban it everywhere. But if you can watch Devotion, you also get a great experience out of that. I also recommend Super Eye Patch Wolf is a YouTuber who has a very good video on Devotion. It's very hard hitting and rough. It feels probably the closest thing to PT that I've played since PT. Speaking of, if you can get your hands on PT for under $2,000, good luck, good for you. Hold on to that. Oh, funny story. When I met my fiance, we'd only been dating for a little bit, and he was like, you should play Destiny. And at that point, the crossplay wasn't a thing. I was like, I don't have a PlayStation. So he's like, I've got a spare PlayStation. And I was just like, well, okay, I guess. And he said, by the way, feel free to look on, see if there's any other downloaded games that you'd like to play. I was like, okay, fair enough. And PT was on there. I was like, do you know you just gave me a console that's worth upwards of like $2,000? He's like, yeah, I know. I was like, oh god, I'm gonna have to marry this man, aren't I? So yeah.
There's a horror game that was supposed to be coming out called Scorn.
Mm-hmm.
That was supposed to be kind of like gross, or your gun is like a slime
Ew.
type of thing, like you reload it by putting a slug
Ew.
inside of your weapon.
There's a lot of like gross out horror that, bear in mind, like I said, I gagged at the one of the Oat Studios episodes. Well, I gagged at more than one, to be fair, but honestly,
do you think we'll be hearing a bit more about the Dead Space series this Halloween? The Dead Space remake?
Honestly, I'm more interested in the Callisto Protocol, which is what the director of Dead Space is going on to make. I think that's going to be a little bit more interesting than just rehashing the game. I hope it's good.
I'm excited for the remake. I'm excited for it.
I hope it's good. Honestly, just please, I'm wasting away in the desert that is the lack of Dragon Age news. So at the moment, I'm just like, any other games you want to talk about? Maybe with dragons in them? Maybe? I'm getting desperate here. I'll take anything. Even Dragon's Dogma I'll take at this point. Anything. Just to tie me over for some Dragon Age. But
yeah, I was about to say, do we need to get the clown makeup on?
Every single goddamn or announcement or convention or anything, I'm just like, maybe this time.
Maybe this time.
Oh, something that I meant to bring up with them when we were talking about Marvel. I was thinking about this earlier. So when Christmas comes around, we're supposedly having the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas episode.
I think that's
Like
next year.
Oh, is it? I thought that was this
I'll
year.
double check, but I think because I remember thinking, oh, that'll be nice, and then seeing it's like, oh, it's gonna be 2022. Hang on.
Okay, well, I mean, either way,
Yeah.
something that I would
Yeah,
absolutely
2022.
love to see is that if they bring Santa into the MCU. Because
Why
Santa
not?
is actually a character in
Oh,
the
yeah.
comic books
Oh yeah, of course he is.
who is an Omega level mutant
I'm okay with that.
who one
That's
time
fine.
held the Infinity Gauntlet.
Maybe that's why they have to do it in 2022, because it's like, well, we've got to establish the mutants before we can bring Santa in.
Is it sad the first thing that popped into my head when I heard Santa was have you guys seen Love, Death, and Robots season 2?
Yes, I love Death and Robots.
Yeah.
I love
the
Death and
Santa from I can't remember which episode it was but the Christmas episode of Love, Death, and Robots, the one that involves Santa. That's the first thing that popped into my head.
I love that show. It's so great. More Love, Death and Robots, please. I think they're getting another season.
Yeah. But
Either
no
way.
Love, Death, and Zombies apparently for Seeker.
I think, though,
I
that
don't need zombies.
we are about time of wrapping this up. Is there any last-minute sort of horror recommendations?
You
watch
got
Midnight
mine.
Mass. Midnight Mass is fucking great. It's also I would say if you have religious trauma surrounding Catholicism, it might be rough. Just to give you a heads up, Midnight Mass wasn't enough of the title, but I will say there's a tremendously good portrayal of a Muslim family that's they consulted a lot of different people and they made sure that it was accurate and respectful, and it's really good, and the show is fantastic. If you're remotely familiar with Mike Flanagan's work, who's worked on things like Oculus and Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, and now this, it very much sticks to his sort of I've heard it called humanist horror, where instead of going for like the ghost in the corner goes blah, it's more about like, examining the existential dread of what happens if you come to realize that, you've been a ghost since the start of the show, that kind of thing. It was just like, oh no, I'm dying, or just examining the horror of being a person and finding the horror from that, and all the supernatural stuff that inevitably ends up being in there is just kind of to support that. And the overarching theme more than it is like, this thing's just here to make you go boo at that, which I find it very effective. But yes, go watch Midnight Mass if you have any interest in a horror series, and with extreme trigger warnings for the gore and some of the gross out stuff for Oat Studios as well, because it's very, very good, but you need a strong stomach for it.
I am pretty excited for next week. Because next week is both the Battlefield 2042 open beta from October 6th to the 10th, and Far Cry 6 comes out on the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very much excited for both of those. And I am very much going to be talking about those during next podcast.
Yeah. I think I might be the only betas that I've been trying to do is actually I've been playing a little bit of the Halo Infinite beta, which for someone who I started with Combat Evolved on the original Xbox, playing, and mind you, I know that mouse and keyboard for the Halo games have been out for a while, so I know that. It feels weird playing on mouse and keyboard playing a Halo game. And I don't think I've played enough of it to get a definitive opinion on what I think of Infinite yet, but hopefully I'll get there maybe.
Also, if you have the capacity to play Destiny 2, the story for it has never been better. It's really, really good.
I'm sorry, what about my 49 hours according to Steam, makes you think I'm not into Destiny yet?
I don't know. Clearly, the fact that you've never mentioned it to me in the entire time we've been like, we're gonna go meet up in Destiny and stuff. Although, actually, you did meet up with people other than me because I got restricted for reasons that I was never informed of by Bungie for 2 weeks. I was just like, no! I don't know why.
I still need to do that.
You do. And it's really good. And Crow is my
I
favorite
thought
sweet boy.
I thought I let you know.
Leave him alone.
I thought I told you about that. Okay, well, this is news
I
to me.
remember you said I was informed that you literally attracted a crowd with your behind.
Oh, yeah, that is true, yes. My ass is now the new marketing material for our podcast. You guys are welcome.
Rightly so.
But that is this episode of Accidentally Casual. We have a Discord
We do have a Discord.
that is
managed by me.
decently active, very welcoming, very fun.
Yes.
Link for that's in the comments,
The
or not in
doobly-doo.
the comments, in the description.
It's in the doobly-doo.
You know.
Yeah.
Also, if you could subscribe to the channels, links to the Twitter are all there.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's all for this episode. See y'all next week.
Alright, see you next time.
Bye.
See you next time, you fucking nerds!
Yay!